Welcome back to the Sty Shack, folks. Yep, this is another Sty story. This one goes to a suggestion by one of my viewers, Jim Dunn. He made a suggestion that had multi-parts to it, multiple parts, and that was outdoor extremes. You know, your coldest night or day, your hottest hike, your wettest trip, those kind of extremes. Okay, this is one of those extremes. 6 days of rain. That's what this one's called. Okay, now this is back several years ago. There was a lake that I just loved to fish. And there was a little resort on that lake I loved to stay at. They had tent camp sites at that resort. And they were very nice and wooded. And the sites were far enough apart from each other so you had some privacy. Very nice resort. And I think they only charged like $15 a day for their tent sites. Well, I got this wild idea. I had some vacation time coming, but I had to let my employer know well in advance that I'm going to take this vacation. So I got to thinking about it, and it was very early spring, that I wanted to go fishing on our walleye fishing opener. So I figured it out. I found out when opening day was, and I figured out my schedule, and I arranged for the time off. One day before season starts, and then on the seventh day, I would head home that morning on the seventh day. So I reserved the campsite and prepaid for it. I made the arrangements with my employer, and my time off was locked in, and they said, hey, you got to let us know within a week if you want to cancel that vacation. So that was pretty well locked in too. Now this is a month or so, maybe more than a month in advance of my opener fishing trip. So we're getting close to opener, and Sty is all excited. He's happy. Boy, he's going fishing. Well, okay. On my last day before I could cancel anything, I checked the weather, and the weatherman said that the weather was going to be mild. It was going to be a little cool, which was expected early in the spring. It was going to be a little cool, otherwise it's going to be mild. So I let my employer know, no, it's good. It's locked in. And they said, you bet it is. You're off that week. You don't have a choice. And I had prepaid for the campsite, so I knew I was good to go. 2 days before I was to leave to go stay at that lake, the weatherman says, we're looking at anywhere from 4 to 6 days of rain. Very cold temperatures, just above freezing at night, and rain every single day. So at that time I had an old Ford 3/4 ton truck with a flatbed on the back, and I'd haul all my gear on that flatbed with a big tarp over the top of everything. It had sides on it. It was like a flatbed with a rail box on it. All my gear is in there. My tent. I had a beautiful 3-room tent. It was a big bugger, boy. It's just like a house. I get to camp. I get to that camp. Get my site checked in. Everything's good. Head to my site, and I put everything up. And I thought to myself, I'm going to throw an extra tarp over the top of the tent and create a big awning off the end of it, because at that time it was pretty sunny out. And I thought, if it's too sunny, it'll provide extra shade, and if it does rain like the stupid weatherman said, then I've got some protection from the rain. Then I went back to the resort lodge, rented my boat for the whole week. That was another deal where you rent it by the day and you pay about 25% more. Or you rent it for the whole week and you pay in advance and you're stuck with the boat for the week. There's no refunds. So I get this boat, really nice boat too. I'm going to go out fishing that afternoon for species that aren't restricted. I went out fishing, and the fishing was pretty good. Knowing that tomorrow morning is the opener of walleye season, I can start fishing walleyes first thing in the morning. And the nice thing with that lake is it had a good mix of every kind of fish you want. It had beautiful smallmouth bass. It had really nice muskies in it, northerns, walleyes, all the panfish, crappies, sunnies. So it was a great lake. That night, I could hear the thunder. By about 4 o'clock in the morning, I could hear the rain. And when that rain started coming down, it was just steady. It wasn't super hard. It wasn't light. It was just steady rain. And I thought, oh boy. And I was smart because I had gotten all my firewood together and got it underneath that big overhang tarp. So I knew my firewood would stay dry, and my fire pit was also under the front of that tarp. So I started a fire and I fixed myself a breakfast, and I'm all excited about going fishing. But it wouldn't quit raining. So all came the rain gear, jacket, pants, the whole works. I head down to the lake, get in the boat, go out on that lake, and I fished until the sun set in the rain. Bailing out that dang boat, fishing. The fish weren't biting. They did not. For some reason, the fish didn't like that rain. A lot of times, just the beginning of a rainstorm, the fish bite good. And then at the end of it, by the time it gets really raining, then the fish quit biting. So I fished all day, got soaking wet, and I only kept, I think, 2 or 3 fish. Brought them back to camp with me, prepped them up, cleaned them, everything, and fried them up for supper. And sat there under that tarp in the rain, thinking, oh, I hope tomorrow's a better day. What did tomorrow bring? The same as the first day. What did the next day bring? Same as the first day. Every single day it rained, and it rained just steady. Not hard, not light, just steady. Enough that if you didn't have rain gear on and you went out in that, it'd take you less than 2 or 3 minutes and you'd be soaked to the bone. So I spent the whole week, 6 days, fishing in the rain. Now on my very last day, I knew that when I brought the boat in, as the sun went down, that'd be the end of it. The boat's theirs, I'm done with it, it's all paid for. I'm out there fishing, and the sun's just starting to set. It's just starting to set a little bit. All of a sudden the clouds clear right out. Clear blue sky. Clear blue. In this little cove I was in, I was fishing for walleyes, and they're jigging for them. And all of a sudden, boom, got a nice 2.5-pound walleye. Boom, another one, about a 3-pounder. I'm hitting the walleyes left and right. Now, on that lake at that time, you could keep 3, so I kept 3 really nice ones for my dinner. And I switched over from walleyes to fishing for muskies. I caught 1 small muskie, and then I fished for panfish, so I had some panfish to take home, being I was heading home the next morning. and the fish were biting. They were biting like mad. So I got about 2.5, 3 hours of good fishing out of 6 days of rain. That was the wettest fishing adventure I had ever taken. My hands were so pruned when I got home. I mean, the skin had been wet for so long that it actually hurt to touch things because my skin had gotten so thin from the moisture. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. Tearing down camp was a nightmare. Everything was soaking wet. So it all got shoved in the back of my truck. I hauled it home. And the weather was nice, of course, but I got to go back to work in a day. So my last day before I go back to work, I spent all day airing all of that out, getting it all dried out so I could pack it away. Yes, that was Stye's wettest adventure. 6 days of rain. My 6-day dream fishing trip turned into just a 6-day deluge. Ain't it just Stye's luck? Hey, there you go. There's the story. And I gotta thank you all for tagging along. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you can punch my ugly mug. Over here's some videos to follow. Ring the bell if you want notifications as to when something gets posted. And until we see you next time, you all have a very, very nice day. Bye-bye.